that animation was like, that was like the golden age of animation back in the aughts. I mean, we had Transformers animated and you know, Bakugan and shit. I don't know. It's like, and Pokemon, come on.
You guys are insulting each other with your most favorite passions, you know, like you can dig on, if you dig on Madagascar, that like wounds Damien to his core.
Yeah, you know, I'm just gonna sing this to him, you know, just immediately. Happy birthday to you, you.
You're muted, Damien, you're muted. You forgot, I have control of the video, you're muted. You're muted. And you know what? You know what else? You know what else? Let me see. You know what else? I'm gonna make you eliminated. I just got you ready for your video.
Doug is using his power. Oh no, the power has gone straight to his head.
Yes, I'm power hungry. It took me this long to realize that I could eliminate him. Oh my gosh, sometimes I wish I had that function in my own eyeballs.
Right? And oh, you're hilarious.
Okay,
So
all right, I'm gonna okay, I'm gonna ask him to unmute and ask to, yeah. You have to admit, that's clever.
That was funny. Damien doesn't think it's funny, but that's funny.
The bug always wins.
I guess when it comes to your fucking channel. You try that on my channel, you're going down.
Going down.
Going down where? To the next Nashville weekend?
You're going timber. That's what you're freaking going to.
Going where?
Timber.
Timber. So I'm going to start planting trees, something I've always wanted to do.
I was referencing a Tens electro rap song, you twit.
A twit?
We both grew up with it.
I have another question for Doug, and then I got one for Damien. Okay. Douglas, what are you working on? Any other writing projects right now?
Yes, I'm working on an anti-bullying book.
Oh, really?
My writing career is going in the direction with Andy where basically it's going to focus on R&U oriented topics. And also, just to tell you more about the Nashville weekend, just a little bit of what happened. I was invited by IndyCar personality Angela Savage to come to Nashville for the Grand Prix weekend. She saw my racing interviews on YouTube and really respected what I was doing. And she sent me a message saying, I want you to be at my autograph signing alongside me in the weekend in Nashville. And she just did it out of the blues. And I brought her on Relentless, and then we did it together last year. And what was really interesting was it was a big weekend. I met Scott Burchetta, the man behind Taylor Swift's career. I met two-time Indy 500 champion Al Unser Jr. And Unser is a big name in racing. It's basically Americanized Andretti as far as on par. And the third person I met, believe it or not, Roger Penske. And you want to hear how I met him? It was unbelievable.
Yes.
Believe it or not, I got run into by his golf cart. I was the luckiest son of a bitch that got run into by his golf cart.
You never told me this. It's just like, oh, golf cart. It's just like,
what?
And then Roger just
comes. Did you turn out and like try to run in front of the golf cart? Is that were you doing that, or did it?
No, I was talking with a friend that I invited to the race named Christine. She went with me to the race to kind of watch over me on behalf of my mom, and she and I were talking about the conclusion of IndyCar practice, and I got distracted and didn't realize I was in a field, and I backed myself up into the path of Penske's golf cart, and I got hit, and it was enough to take me to the ground. And I was like, believe it or not, I was thinking, okay, whoever had the audacity to hit me, I'm going to sue. I was thinking that. And then I stood up and saw who it was. And Penske asked, are you okay? And I was like, Penske, it's you. And then I sort of was like, no worries. Can I have a picture though?
You're like,
Oh.
you're a really good driver. You just hit me that time. It's okay.
He's actually not a driver. He used to be, but he's the man behind that company with the yellow and white Penske
Yeah,
trucks.
the very type of truck the very brand of truck that me and my parents used to move to Colorado to begin with.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, like the Penske moving truck stuff. Yeah, I've seen that stuff.
And he also now owns the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the IndyCar series. So I met the man behind the whole series.
Hit you with his golf cart.
Yes, it was an unbelievable way to meet him.
I feel like that's another children's book in the making, like, how to meet famous people.
And the front cover is
maybe, part would you want to get hit by? Like, who's the guy, the animators or the funny guys behind Phineas and Ferb? Like, do they drive a golf cart around the Hollywood studios? Maybe you could stand around and get hit by I forget his name. He's got a funny name, but yeah, you could just like get in the way of a whole bunch of golf carts, Doug, and there's a whole other book for you. How to meet famous people.
In the funniest
ways. That is hilarious. Oh my word.
And you know what else? It was a really big weekend, not just because of that, but because the racing was great. Like the vibe was good. The fans were much more classy and it was really funny. During the Stadium Super Truck race, which is a monster truck series they had that weekend, owned by Robbie Gordon. Robbie Gordon won the first race, and then the second Stadium Super Truck race was won by Robert Stout. And because it was the last event for Stadium Super Trucks that weekend, what happened was they're a fan-friendly show, meaning they focus on entertaining the fans. So Robert Stout won the race, and then they came to the front stretch where I was, and 5 drivers did burnouts at the same time, including Robbie Gordon, his 13-year-old son, Max. And as I was watching that, I was excited. I was entertained, but I was also thinking, wait, who won the race? Know what I mean?
You're like, that looked so cool, but wait, I didn't get who won.
Well, I knew who won, but with 5 drivers doing burnouts, it was like, what's the result?
That's hilarious. That's funny.
So, Bud, do you have anything for the future, music man? You're a music man.
A what? A what? He's a music man, and he sells blah blah blah. Yeah, I did that. First of all, I actually did that play in high school. Fun fact.
Really, I love that play.
Yeah. Anyway, what I have planned is I finally figured out a genuine concept for my sound, and I have several influences. I listen to a lot of modern AOR. In case you don't know what that is, it's album-oriented rock, and it's that super soulful kind of R&B infused, poppy, sort of somewhat poppy, but not really poppy, but super heavy. Inspirational kind of motivational rock that has all this sympathy that typically does not get played on the radio, but you just pick up albums of, and it's been around since the 70s and 80s. Nice. But apparently they still make it. There's this record label called Frontiers Records that it spits it out like wildfire. It also has like a lot of glam metal bands from Europe. I don't know if you've ran into any, like Crazy Licks, for example. But yeah, there's
Crazy Licks. Yeah. I didn't know they licked people.
Anyway, but yeah, like a few choice bands that I listen to for AOR is, Jeff Scott Soto. There's also one called Wet, which I'm pretty sure is a super group of 3 bands because it's an abbreviation. And my personal favorite, Vega, which is they are my personal favorite. And they have this sort of earlier albums actually kind of have this weird indie music meets rock vibe, and there's another one that recently came out back in 2018 called Cray, which originally had this 80s retro sound, and now they're a lot more contemporary. They actually have more elements of pop now, modern pop. But yeah, those are a few of the bands that I listen to. But I also listen to several styles like synthwave. I like a lot of Bruno Mars. He's highly influential to me.
Ugly Bruno Mars, bud.
Stop. She doesn't know that reference. Shut up. Anyway, there's Gunship. I listen to this fusion DJ called Grizz, who has this dubstep funk thing. He's very, 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 very new, I will say. Funk is actually technically a type of rock, so I mean, to hear it through dubstep is very influential. But the biggest influence that I just want to talk about right now so far is the memory of that one band. First of all, do you remember?
Stuck with you. That was something that stuck with you.
First of all, Doug, do you remember there was like a trumpet player? Like, was it just one trumpet player who would switch between trumpet and sax, or was there both a trumpet and a sax player?
Sax. Oh, okay. Let me think. Can you ask the question again?
Was there just a trumpet player, or was there two different people, one person playing a sax and one playing a trumpet?
Sax. Are you referring to Louis Armstrong?
I'm talking about the band from Creative Kids. Like, I know there was a DJ.
Okay, yeah, I remember now. Okay, yeah, there was a trumpet player, and they played a dramatic trumpet tune, like in Prince of Egypt.
Ah, nice. So I know there was the guitarist, the bass guitar player, the DJ, and then the keyboardist, the percussion drummer with the washboard tie and the buckets, right? Like he had a tie shaped like a washboard that he wore around his neck that was shaped like a tie.
I love that. That sounded so cool.
And he would use his drumsticks for it, and then he'd have a bunch of bucket drums around him, but like the main drum components actually came from the record scratcher DJ, and then there was a keyboardist, and then there was like
scratcher? That won't do music any favors, scratching the record.
You're not wrong on that, but I mean, I think they were using a digital table or something. I don't really know.
So numbers oriented.
Sure, whatever. But can you stop it with the pun? I'm trying to ask up. But I know there was also the guitar. Finally, there was the guitarist and the bassist. Do you remember if there was? But yeah, do you remember if there was a trumpet? Do you remember if there was?
What was that, Trisha? What was that, Trisha?
Now Damien's wishing he had the power to mute you.
Hey, do you remember if there was a trumpet player? Right, there was a trumpet player, right?
Yeah, there was.
Did he also play sax, or was there also a separate sax player?
I think there were two sax players, and I think there was also someone that played. It was either a hurdy-gurdy or it was a what's that instrument where you're like?
That's an accordion.
Accordion, yeah.
I don't remember an accordion player at all.
I remember it, so yeah, it was something like that, yeah.
Fuck, what is that fucking? Why the fuck didn't they get big in the indie movement? That's bogus. That was like the
were they
coolest
from
band.
Estes Park? You know, if they were from Estes, or were they from Denver, or
I don't know, man. It was just like they were like something so weird that I'd never even seen before. I just thought they were rock, but
Yeah, you liked
it.
Damien.
Way back then. I was going to bring up to you, though, Damien, that I've started getting into AC/DC. John Lennon did a good job in the band.
I'm not Andy. Save these jokes for Andy. It doesn't really work on me. We both know you're just trying to sound stupid. I'm not really as passionate about AC/DC as Andy is, dude. I mean, I like them, but they're not like my biggest influence.